Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm so happy that you are here with us today for Mumpreneurs Go Lives. And today I have Luz, the Certified Couple Therapist, and you're going to hear more about her. Just want to quickly tell you I am Dana. I'm the founder of Mumpreneurs. And every week, almost every week, we have Mumpreneurs Go Lives where we invite mompreneurs to come and share their expertise or their stories or anything we feel it's useful for our community. So, as I say, today is Luz, and she will talk to us about how to build happy relationships with romantic relationships, right? With our partner. Welcome, Luz.
Thank you so much, Dana. Always very grateful for your generosity to invite me to your Momtrepreneurs platform and to be with all these mothers that are entrepreneurs like you and me. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
Our pleasure. And you have been with us for quite a while. You come to our events, online events, also in-person events, so you are happy to share the knowledge, and having someone like you come and just share with us, it's really helping us a lot. Thank you.
Thank
uh,
you.
so today we talk about relationships with romantic partners, and sorry, I haven't introduced you like I know you. So one of the things, I know you are a single mom
Yeah.
and you have 3 boys.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, and you live in Dubai. And what is it? There is one thing that people don't know about you and they would be surprised to find out.
Um, well, you said the most important elements. I'm a single momtrepreneur. Yes, I'm a
Mhm.
single momtrepreneur of 3 boys, and I am a therapist.
Mhm.
And my boys as well have been the catalyst of my personal growth. And maybe one thing that people don't know about me is that I like to climb mountains. I love to climbing mountains, and nobody actually knows this, but I love trekking. And the last trip that I had was this year in, I believe, was May, and I went to Kenya, and I did
Mhm.
climb Mount Kenya. I
Wow.
love nature. I love nature.
Wow.
Yeah. It was so difficult, but I managed to conquer that
Yeah.
beautiful mountain, and it was amazing. I went
Yeah.
with my buddies, and it was really a nice experience. Yeah. So this is
Wow.
something that nobody knows.
No, no, yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know. Thank you for sharing. And if I wonder if you can share with us what's important about what you're doing. What gets you to do what you're doing as a
Wow,
couple therapist?
that's a very profound question, and I appreciate it. Well, my story is this. As you know, I have 3 kids. I have been married myself. I come from a third world country. I'm from Peru, where we witness a lot of, poverty, scarcity, and dysfunctional relationships. Mine parenting happened to be one of those dysfunctional relationships, and through psychology, now that I know, I also, experience that, relationship challenges, and I marry a completely different person with a different culture, religious beliefs, and parental conditioning, social conditioning, and because of the lack of awareness and psychological education, I lost my marriage. I was not able to repair and to heal my marriage through the therapy methods that I wish I knew at that time, which I didn't. So my story is this: I want to help people to have those tools, to be able to learn about repairing methods, healing methods, holistic methods, and scientific psychological methods that you can use in your relationship. If you want to repair it, it could be if you are at divorce, border of divorce, or even if you're not, but you want to upgrade and nourish your relationship. So that's my story. I want to give people that something that I wish somebody give it to me, those tools. So
Mhm.
that's what I do. I love my job. I love working with people. And yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell
Yeah.
why I do what I do.
Thank you. Thank you. And I wonder if there was, if someone come to you now, the goldfish or the fairy, the god fairy, or someone, will come to you and say, Luz, what's the wish that you have for the world?
Hmm. Well, the first word that comes to my head is peace.
Mm,
Peace, and especially now more than ever. I'm a mother of three boys, as you know, and as I
mm,
just said it. And I want peace, peace for a mental peace, because I feel strongly that if we are peaceful and our mind is in peace, we can also spread that outside. We can also embrace peace and mental health so that humans can make better decisions
yeah,
than the ones we are doing now in our world.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, that will be my wish. Mental health, which means
And
equal peace.
what's the dream that you have for couples?
For couples, my dream is that they educate themselves, educate about what really relationship is about. Yes, educate themselves, what the real meaning of relationships, which is something that I will discuss it with you now. And
Mm,
that's my hope. Educate ourselves. Let's not just be drawn to relationships out of trauma bonds, out of unawareness, out of behavioral patterns.
mhm,
Let's start choosing consciously the person we want to share the rest of our lives. Let's
mm,
choose it consciously because it's possible. And yeah, that's what I feel I want
mm.
couples to learn.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that because I'm also in a relationship, my husband. So I'll take that your wish for me as well,
Mm,
and for
yeah.
the rest. And you're saying about
Mm-hmm.
choosing, and like I am married, and I'm sure there are other who here who have maybe daughters or sons. Like my son is 4, but if later in life I like to be able to part the wisdom on him on how to choose the partner. So
Mm-hmm.
what's the basic? How do we choose the partners now?
Mm-hmm.
And how is best, what would be your, how would, I don't know, call it, the right way to do it?
Yeah, the conscious way to do it.
The
Yeah.
conscious. All
Yes,
right.
so
Yeah.
because let's understand consciousness. Consciousness is really being in the present moment and being aware of the present moment and making a decision, understanding the cause and effect of something, and
Mm,
understanding consciously the cause and effect in the present moment. Now, how relationship starts, unfortunately, at times maybe look like you are doing the choice. It might look like you're doing the choice, that you're choosing that person, but at times it's actually hidden familiarity, psychological subconscious familiarity that we hold from our first relationships, which is the ones that we had with our parents. So let me give you in a nutshell what is a relationship. And I'm going to quote Dr. Gabor Mate, who most probably many people know. He's a medical physician and a psychotherapist, very respected in the field of therapy. He said this: a relationship definition is the gravitational force that attract two people together for the purpose of being loved, befriend, listened, validated, and to grow together. That
mm,
is the definition of a conscious relationship. Yeah. Yet in the society, in our world, we forget these elements. And at times we are attracted or drawn to people for the wrong reasons. Could be image, we like the cover, but we see the red flags. We see certain things that our intuition, and I'm pointing at my stomach because that's where we have them in the guts, that tells us something is wrong. I mean, from the beginning, we feel, but yet we at times people override that intuition, and we still continue the relationship. Not only that, but we make a fantasy about the
mm,
relationship. Yes, and depending on the neededness of the person, of wanting to be loved, wanting to be heard, even though the signs are there, we choose to override.
Mm.
So that's what I was saying. Let's consciously choose partners that potentially can embrace the very values that we have. Now, in order to do that, you will need to know yourself. You will need to know what is your values that you want to embrace in the relationship, the vision of a relationship. What are your deal breakers? What are your boundaries that not to be crossed? And so all these elements needs to be discussed in the relationship, and both sides need to agree to this. This is how a conscious relationship is formed. But who does that? Did you do that with your husband? I certainly didn't. I was attracted to him for other reasons. He was a fitness guy. I really like his body because I love fitness too. And so we were attracted for other reasons, and two different cultures. Yeah. And my case was even worse because two different cultures. And that created a lot of frustration and a lot of arguments, conflicts, because I was going right and he was going left, and we didn't know that there is a way that we can both learn about each other and compromise and meet us in between, and with a proper dialogue become the person that the other person need, to go into the journey of life.
Yeah.
Yes. And to just complete that, it all starts with our first relationships in our lives. I don't know if you heard Dan, about this concept of attachment styles. Have you heard about this
Yeah,
term?
it sounds familiar. Sounds
From
familiar.
John Bowlby. Yeah, from John Bowlby. John Bowlby was one of the first psychologists who created the theory of attachment styles. Is if you are, if you go to therapy, your therapist certainly will do an assessment of what's your attachment style. And the attachment style comes from the first relationships that we build in our childhood, which are our parents. They are the first people we learn to have a relationship, a love relationship, a relationship of codependency, because we codepend from our parents to be safe, to be fit, to be fed, to be protected, to be guided. It is that first relationship with our parents that define the attachment style that we're going to have as adults. Can you believe that? And there is only little time, by the way. We have that imprinting from some scientists would say 0 to 7, and some scientists will say no, it's actually 0 to 3. Such a
Mm.
little time. And what does that theory does is that we have different ways um, of attaching to parents. Some children are secure attached, and that is given when the parents are communicating nicely with each other. There is a communication at home. There is an explanation of cause and effect. There is no shouting, blaming, criticizing. So the child is growing like a plant, and it's becoming a very secure, and he knows that no matter what, he has a home to return, and he's going to be listened, heard, understood, because that's the environment. So that's called secure attachment. We have the other kind of attachment that is called anxious attach. And that's when parents are unpredictable. Maybe there is too much work, financial constraint. Mommy is unpredictable, she's moody, maybe daddy shouts, short temper. And so the whole environment becomes unpredictable to the child. So the child gets anxious. So it develops that pattern of anxious attach, we call it. The
Mm.
third is the avoidant attach, is the part when parents again don't have a good dynamic on the relationship. So the child is observing a lot of a bit of chaos in the house, shouting, maybe not emotional connection. There is no time for the child to express his needs. And so, or when the child is expressing too much emotions, and then he's punished because he's too loud or too hyper or too introvert. So mom and dad are really not connecting with the child. So the child understands at a very young age that his emotions should not be shown, and so he avoids. Yes, because nobody's there, or because he shows it and then he's punished. He shows his emotions and then he's punished for that. So he develops this attachment style called
Mhm.
avoidance. Yeah. And the last but not least is the attachment style called ambivalent attach. Yes. Again, three scenarios, not much connection, there is neglect, not emotional availability from the parents. So the child becomes avoidant and also disorganized, is anxious, and he doesn't know how to express. That is the last attachment style. So all these things contributes to the way we choose our partners.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It's, I could listen forever because it's very, very interesting. There's so much knowledge, there's so much expertise. Now, bringing back to relationships, all right?
Mhm.
Um, how, and we started, now we learned about the attachment, and I'm curious to know when you choose a partner.
Mhm.
You mentioned about the flag, you mentioned about the values, right?
Yeah.
That needs to have the right values, to have agreements, how to be with each other, set boundaries, and so on. All right. So, what happens if you got married like I am for the past 10 years? I think we are celebrating next year. What happens if things are not, haven't been done at that point, and now we are here? What can we do?
So I guess you need to do an auditing of your relationship, yes, and both
Mm,
sit together and have a dialogue, yes, a dialogue. And this is something that I learned from the method that I use in couple therapy. One of the methods that I use called Imago. And in Imago technique, and there are books that you can get just for the audience. There is a book called Getting the Love You Want by the two PhD doctors, Harville Hendrick and Helen Luckily. Yes,
I think I
we
have
can.
it somewhere here.
Yes,
I
yes.
remember reading it. My therapist gave it to me years back.
Exactly. There
Yeah.
you go. Well, she indeed
Yes.
was giving you a
Yeah.
beautiful resource, because in the Imago couple therapy, it says that we need to dialogue. At times, we misunderstand dialogue with the ABC concept in the book, which is attack, blame, and criticize. Yes, we
Mhm.
do ABC. And what we need to understand in relationships, one very important element is that words can be very dangerous if we don't know how to use them and if we use them
Mhm.
lightly. So
Mhm.
in the dialogue, instead, in this imagotherapy method that I use, I coach and trained my clients to be able to dialogue, meaning express the unfulfilled needs, the unmet needs, by owning the emotion, communicating it to the partner, and allowing the partner to repeat, to mirror what this your partner is speaking, and then empathizing with what they're feeling. Even if you don't agree to what your
Mhm.
partner is claiming, you can empathize and you
Yeah.
can understand. Yeah,
Thank you.
so that's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So I use again my relationship with my husband. So let's say yes, all sounds good, and me as a wife, all agreed. I go to my husband, and my husband says that doesn't make sense to me. No,
Mhm.
how? What do I do as a wife? What can I
Mhm.
do to make my marriage better?
And so again, you communicate with him, dialogue, and try to understand what is it that it doesn't make sense to you. Tell me about your belief system. Yes, and of course, this requires certain amount of emotional intelligence. And if you see that your husband doesn't, then he needs to communicate this maybe to a therapist. And the therapy is, it's very important now in this new society that we are exposed to so much information on the net. I'm glad to recognize that we are growing from the stereotyping that you can only go to therapy if there is something wrong with you, right? That
Mm.
you some mental illness or anything. Now we are recognizing that a life coach or a therapist or a psychologist is there to support you in understanding yourself better. Yes, in also like a personal trainer that helps you with your fitness, or a nutritionist that helps you with your food, the therapist or the psychotherapist can help you with your mental health. So if your husband, for instance, is in denial that there is an unmet need to my partner, he needs to go to the therapist and maybe express there like, this is how I feel. And I want to understand, why can I not empathize with my wife? Why do I feel that what she says is wrong? And maybe that also will help to hear it from another person and an outsider, that this potential is what your wife, and what about this? Have you seen this? And give another perspective than just the two of you. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And my husband doesn't believe in, let's say, doesn't believe in therapies.
Hmm. Well,
What?
again, then you have the choice. Then you as a wife have the choice, like, communicate, this is what I need. And if I cannot have this, our relationship is gonna go through a lot of pain, to me, to you, because I'm not able also to provide you when I'm not given this treatment, I'm not able to reciprocate. And we need to take care of that. And so I always encourage therapy. I would always say in relationships, the last option should be considered divorce. The
Yeah.
last option. I believe that if you have the right tools, and you practice and you put the commitment and the willingness to empathize, understand, and to commit to the meeting in between the two of you to fulfill each other needs, that's the first
Mhm.
option. And then the last option, if your husband is in denial and he doesn't want to change, you always have the option to say, well, this is not going to work
Yeah.
for me, and that's the only time you would
Yeah.
probably consider divorce. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you specialize in working with parents, with parents perhaps as well, but with
Yeah.
couples who are contemplating divorce, like they are thinking this or
Yeah.
or the other one. And I wonder, what is it before they go there, all right? Before
Mhm.
they come to you, what is it that they can do to repair the relationship?
Yeah.
What are
Of
the
course,
steps?
the last thing you want to go is to a couple therapist, right? You could
Yeah.
avoid it. You can prevent, like a disease in your body. Like, the last thing you want to go is to go for high cholesterol to the doctor, or to have an operation to, reduce the size of your stomach. So you want to prevent that by nourishing your body with good food and so on. A relationship is no different. Yes, a relationship can
Mhm.
also be able to nourish that constant feeding to the relationship with love, with empathy. So I give you a couple of exercises that I do with my couples when they're working on the relationship. The first one is, and it comes from the Dr. John Gottman, who is also a top couple therapist in the world, very respected, because he has done a lot of scientific research on the dynamic of a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
One of the things he advised is having your love maps. Get to know your partner. Ask him about his dreams and aspiration. Do you know who the best friends are for him? Do you know what's stressing him lately? Do you know what's his favorite music? Have you ever asked him about, if he wins the lottery, what would he do with that money? Things that gives you the love map to your partner. Get
Mhm.
to spend the time to get to know your partner. It is very, very important. The other thing is to embrace the positives in the relationship. If you in your relationship, you enjoy quality time, practice it more often. Do things together, that something that does not involve, if you have children, without the children sometimes, do things just you and him, if these are the things that connected you in the first place. Embrace that. So this is another thing. The other thing is, turn towards each other when you need help. Don't go outside. Like, sometimes most of the people, my ex-husband used to do, like, he used to have advices on their friends. And yes, their friends were very knowledgeable people, but I would have liked him to come to me, for example, for advice. I would have loved to be involved in this process of him. If he needed help, I want to be the first one to be asked, and I want to be there for him, right? And I think that's what sometimes what we do, we go outside. No, turn towards each other. And last but not least, I mean, I have a list of things, but I
Yeah.
will give you the last one. Let your partner to influence you. Allow it. In our changing and evolving society, we used to live in a patriarchal mentality, and now, luckily for all of us, this is changing. Women and men are playing roles equally and complementing each other. But allowing your partner to influence you means that you ask his opinion. If you want to buy a car, you want to ask your partner, even though she's a female, let's say you're a man, what do you think about this? Because in doing that, the message is, oh, the wife, I'm important to my husband. He considers my opinion. And vice versa. Also, the wife allowing the husband, what do you think about this? I was thinking to do this. What's your opinion on that? Again, the husband will feel like, wow, I'm important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are a couple of tips I can give to relationships
Yeah,
nourishment.
what my husband and I, because John Gottman I know was recommended to me through coaching, we haven't finished the book, but we started
Mhm.
reading together before we had our son. We used to read a chapter every weekend. We haven't finished. We got busy. The child arrived, and that. So I recognize what you say, and we're very it did transform our relationship. Now I'm looking at the time, and we have 4 minutes left to complete, and. I love to know if there is something that, like parting words that you want to say, something very, very important that you want to tell to the women, to the mothers who are listening to you now.
This is the most important thing I want to tell women and men is that in order to have a healthy, conscious relationship, the first relationship you need to nourish and get to know the best is the relationship with yourself first. You got to know you. You got to know your authenticity, your boundaries, your love language, your deal breakers, so that when you meet your partner, your potential soulmate, you communicate the manual of your life. You communicate what is your vision about life, what's your aspiration, what are the things you are accepting or you will accept, and what are the things you will not accept. This is so important. We need to be authentic in a relationship. When we try to be somebody else, and just because we want to keep somebody beside us, not sustainable. It's
Yes.
not sustainable. You can't. It is part of our primary needs as humans to be authentic, that's one, and to have an attachment, meaning to belong to someone,
Mhm.
to be loved, to be listened.
Mhm.
But if that is at the expense of your authenticity, it's not sustainable. It will come back to you and you'll not be happy and you're going to bite the other person. So that would be my biggest advice for all the entrepreneurs watching, and maybe if
Yeah.
any male person watching, that's the best advice I
Yeah.
can say. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And what's the advice relating to know yourself when you are already in a relationship? So that's you said choosing. What about
Yeah.
when you are in the middle of it?
Follow your intuition. When you are in the relationship already and you seeing the signs and you are seeing your guts is telling you something is odd, something is wrong, don't override it. Connect to your intuition. I love Dr. Gabor Mate, and I'm always quoting him when I do, social media streams, lives, because he's so wise when he says that it is our biology to be connected to ourselves. This is what authenticity means. Being authentic comes from the Latin word auto, self, authentic connection to the self.
Yeah.
It means that you want to use that intuition
Yeah.
all the time. You
Yes.
want to connect with yourself. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Luz. We are almost finished, and I know there will be many mothers who would like to speak more to you. Maybe wants to reach and ask you a question, or maybe they want to see how you can help them. How is it? How can they find you?
Yeah. So I'm the founder of the company called Positive Living UAE. It's a holistic clinic, it's a holistic center. They can find me in Google, put Positive
Mhm.
Living UAE. You'll find me there. You can see my reviews, the work that I do, and the referrals are there. And yeah, they can find me there, or you can also send me an email to Luz. at positiveliving.uae.com, or find me in my Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram,
Yeah.
Positive Living UAE.
You
Yeah.
are right. Or write to me and I put you to Luz. Thank you. And we have a few comments here for Vignesh says, romance is my favorite, romance with hearts. That's amazing. Yes. Yes. Love, what is it? Love turns the world, makes the world go round. Thank you,
Yes,
Luz. With this, we completed our session today. Mumpreneurs Go Live. So happy that you are here. I feel I learned so much, and that really helps me with my marriage. And I know it's gonna help so many of the ones who listen. Thank
it's a
you.
pleasure. It's a pleasure. Bye bye.